Hello, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday's live today. It's a nice bright sunny day. It's been much cooler, but a lovely bright day. And I've got some really lovely bright earrings to make with you. They are very summery, really, really gorgeous. So I've called them Sedona, and they are like twine, as in they are twisted together. We're using 3 different colours of seed beads, all size 11 or 11 O's, however you refer to them. And these are Toho seed beads, so they're really, really lovely quality. And we're mixing those colours and blending them into little twisted earrings. I have a similar pair, same method, that I'm wearing at the moment. We've got 3 different colours for you, as in 3 different kits, but there's 3 colours within each of them. So I'm going to take you over to the website very shortly. I'll say good morning to you if you want to drop me a little comment, and then I'll show you down on the mat those mixed seed beads and how they look. In fact, I'll bring them up now and then you can see. So really straightforward to do, and you can amend the size with these very easily as well. It's just a matter of putting less seed beads on, but you can see we create this lovely kind of twisted rope effect. So this is your green colourway, and you can see I'm using 3 colours of the seed beads there. I'm also going to be adding a little miracle bead on there as a little stopper. And we're just going to be using some 0.4mm wire, which is a 26 American wire gauge. If you want to make along with me, then you can do so with the kit. So this is the lovely green, and they're on kind of like a champagne wire with those gold earring hooks. Very, very pretty. Again, if you want to make them smaller, I'll talk you through how to do that. Ultimately, if you want to make them larger, real statement earrings, you can do that. So that way as well. So that is the green colourway, and that's what I'm going to demo for you today. We have this lovely little orange pair. Well, they're not orange, it's a bit of a mixed bag. They're like summer. They remind me of sherbet, these ones. So you can see they're the colours that I'm using. We've got like a pinky tomato soup colour. We've got a lovely goldy yellow mixed with the orange, and I'm just adding on the little yellow miracle bead with that. They're on a gold colourway. And then we also have a blue version, which we've got some lovely kind of bluebell tones and shades there for you. Have I picked 2 of the same? No, ones, they are very slightly different. So we have them. And that has got the blue miracle bead, and that's on the silver wire. So that's all the wire that I'm using is a 0.4, which is a 26 American wire gauge. So we will make those in just a moment. I'll show you the website. I'll just say a quick hello to everybody. Good morning to Elaine and Lisa. Good morning to Jan. Melissa is in. Good morning to you. Hello to Heather. Jan says these earrings look cute. Heather's loving the green. The ones that I'm wearing are a bit of a mixed bag. I think you're making 5 pairs of earrings in these kits. That's pairs. So 10 essentially. You could make them as pendants. You could create a rope type chain necklace with them if you wanted to instead. You're getting loads in there. But I've mixed them up, so I've made a little multicoloured version as well, which looks like those. Just picked a couple out. And if you want to make it smaller without using this tone, so what this usually does is it helps kind of graduate those colours together, so it kind of looks like it's almost ombre, but you don't have to add that extra colour or added seed beads in. If you want to make them smaller, you can just do the twist. So you can see you can get a different look and a different size with those as well. Good morning, Just Me. I hope you're well. Mina says, love these earrings and looking forward to seeing how they're made. They're really straightforward. Heather says, I've got a full basket waiting for the tutorial to finish so I can add some more. And good morning to Sharon as well. Good morning to Yolanda. Hello to Anastasia. So let me take you over to the website so you can see exactly what we are making with today. So head over to totallybeads.co.uk and head into the video tutorial category, whichever way you want to get into it. And then today we're doing the Sedona twine earrings. So I'm basically just twisting those seed beads, really easy stringing. In terms of your tools, you don't need much at all. A ruler or something to measure out with. round nose or bail step making pliers, some wire cutters, and maybe some chain nose pliers or tweezer nose pliers just to tuck in the ends of the wire. And I think that's pretty much it. If you want to, you can always use a bead spinner as well. I've not bothered with this. I've just picked them up. They don't take that long to do at all. So we have the Sedona Twine earrings, which makes 5 pairs up for you today. You can choose from the blue, the green, or the summer. Now, they have been reduced in price, but obviously, depending on the fanciness of the seed bead, then they might slightly vary. So they are £10.19 for the blue, £13.59 for the green, and the summer, which is the kind of orangey, pinky, yellowy colours, they're £10.19. You're making 5 pairs of earrings here. If you do want to change your currency, just there at the top, you'll be able to change it at the top of the page. So I'll click in the blue and I'll show you what you're getting. You're going to get your ear wires, and they're really lovely ear wires as well. Those earring hooks, they are nickel free. I'm using the copper wire, which, as I say, is a 26 gauge or a 0.4 millimeter. It's copper wire, but it's color coated. I'm using some miracle beads, which I think are a size 6. Yeah, so this one here is the aqua colour, and then the seed beads are all size 11. I've got an English bluebell, a Virginia bluebell, and I've also got the denim blue in this colourway, and then they twist together to create that little look there. So that's everything you need to make these earrings in terms of your tools, which you won't be supplied with, but all the materials for making are going to be in these kits. And this one here is the green colourway. Again, using those, I love this colour today. I'm using these mint green, the teal, and a peridot, a milky peridot, and they're going to be on your champagne ear wires. And I'm using a lime green miracle bead. Now, the miracle bead it's called a miracle bead because it looks like a bead within a bead, the way the light catches it. It's got a really beautiful kind of cat's eye effect, really, a real beautiful chatoyancy, which means it just glows. So they're really pretty, and they've got a nice large drill hole size in them as well, which means that you can just slide them over the top of all of your wires that you're using. So they are the green. And then lastly, but by no means least, we've got the summer. Now, these are going to be on your earring hooks, which are champagne colour as well. I'm using a champagne wire for this in terms of its colour on the copper. And then we have the miracle bead here, which is... what colour? It's a yellowy colour, really. Kind of like a gold because it glows. I'm using, it's called tomato soup. It borders more on a pink colour, I think. Really, really pretty. We've got the silver lined hyacinth, which is a very lovely, bold orange colour, very striking. And then we've got the milky light topaz, which is kind of like a yellowy gold. So they're all your materials for you for those lovely ones. If you did want to multi-buy them all, you're going to have loads and loads of earrings. You could do all sorts of different things with them. You don't have to make earrings. You can make pendants. Again, I think you could make a bracelet using this technique, no problem. That'd be really lovely, actually, like a rope bracelet. It looks like it's stitched. It's not. It's just the wire twisted together. But if you did want to multi-buy them, then you could mix those colours as well. You could pick out maybe the tomato soupy pink, the kind of peridot kind of colour, the blues, whatever you wanted. You could do like a rainbow mix. So they're the Sedona Twine earrings for you on the Totally Beads website. You can find those tutorials to watch back whenever you fancy. Always there for you to catch up with. So, good morning to Joanne. She says, good morning. We had rain last night and it was glorious, nice and cool this morning. Highs of 24. These earrings look cute. Loving the blue and the teal combinations. We know who would really like the summer. Yeah, Camille will definitely, if she's watching. Don't think she is today. I think she's gone to a club. But if, yeah, I think she would like those ones as well. I don't know which ones I like the most today. I'm feeling the green, so I'm going to make those ones. I've got a bit of a rainbow coloured cardigan on, so anything's going to go with what I'm wearing today. It's just a really nice summery earring, and they're really, really lightweight as well. You'll forget you've got them in. Anastasia says the orange mixture is beautiful. I just purchased for my daughter a dress in orange and mine in burgundy. Ooh. And yeah, everyone's saying it's much cooler today. It really, 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 really rained heavy yesterday. It was torrential. Rained a little bit the day before, just in time for school pickup. Yesterday was wet all day. Today's quite sunny, but was really weird because on the walk to school, it was really bright, like sunglasses needed. But yeah, you could see little droplets of rain, and we couldn't find the cloud to figure out where it was coming from. Tracy says, good morning to everyone. The summer ones remind me of, that's it, fruit salad sweets. Tracy, I was trying to think what it was. That's exactly what it is. I agree. I hope everybody's well. I hope, oh, there's Camille. Yeah, she's getting ready for Fat Club, she says. Knew you would be going. Right. I'm so glad you are well, Anastasia. I know we've all been wondering how you're getting on. So, right, let's get down to making. So these are the lovely earrings that we are making today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trusty ruler and I'm going to get my wire ready. So I'm going to cut 3 strands, and I want this to be about 20 centimeters each, which is about 8 inches. Again, if you're using less, you can cut less, but I think it's nice to have that little extra bit of wire so we can turn that loop at the end. So I've got about 20 centimeters there or thereabouts, which is about 8 inches, and I'm going to cut 3 strands of them. So I'm just going to come in with my wire cutters and just trim those. I love this wire, it's really nice to use. Often I find with like a colour coded wire, especially if it's like a bold colour on it, it does struggle, I think, when you're working with it and you're heavy handed to retain that colour on it. But this I don't ever have an issue with. So this is kind of like a light goldy colour. So I've just cut 3 lengths of those. Now I'm going to get my seed beads out. I'm using the green colour. I'm just going to use one at a time. So what I want to do is I want to make about I want to feed on about 7 centimeters of each colour to each strand. So one colour on one strand, one colour on another strand, another colour on the other strand. 7 centimeters is about 2 3/4 inches, and it works out to be about 42 seed beads. So you can count them. You can use a bead spinner. I would suggest you just keep measuring it against your ruler, but pick it up from the mat. So hold one end of your wire so it doesn't fire away. You can put a tiny little bend in one end if you want to, and that'll just help you pick it up. This is where they fire all over the place, but I'm just going to slide them on like so. Let's flick that upwards. So you can scoop it up from the bottom and just pick them up off your mat. Now I did this before just to check I knew what I was doing, and I had absolutely no problem with it, but obviously now we're live, we'll see how they all just fire everywhere. So I was going to not count because when I'm counting you can't always hear, but that's all you hear is me counting away. But it tends to be about 42 seed beads. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick them up and then I'm just going to measure them against my ruler. I want about 7 centimeters of these. Again, by all means, if you want to make your design different in size, you can just adjust how many you want to put on. So I'm not going to count. I'm just going to pick them up. Now a Toho seed bead is usually good quality. They're usually quite uniform in size. If you get something like a Mayuki seed bead, which are more expensive, they are like perfectly uniform in size. These are pretty much of a muchness. These are kind of like, I wouldn't say second best. For me, I love them because you get you get a Toho seed bead in so many sizes, but you also get so many colours. They're really, really beautiful to work with. But if you get what we call an FG seed bead, that's a fancy glass bead, like a craft seed bead, then they are very irregular, shall we say. Oh, look at that. Look at that, bob-omb. So I'm just going to take one off. I've not counted them. I'm just going to go for 7 centimetres, which is about 2 3/4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that in half a little bit, just so when I lay that down on my desk, I'm not going to lose the ends of my beads all over the place. Okay, so that's one colour. And I'm going to get out my other strand. And I'm going to do exactly the same with another colour. So I'm just going to pour some of those out onto the desk. Hi, Carol. Again, if you want to flick up the wire, you're just kind of using it like a needle, really. Scoop them on. And what I want is for these to be kind of even. So whatever amount I decide to put onto one strand, I'm going to put on the other 2 strands as well, just in terms of length. So you could make these really, really, really small, or you can make them really, really big. Or you could do this with 3 very long lengths of wire, and you could twist them into a bracelet or a necklace. You do get loads of seed beads in your bag. They're usually weighed out at about 10 grams. So God knows how many, or goodness knows, sorry, how many is in 10 grams, but loads. You can see I'm only using, I'd say about 42, and that's giving me 7 centimetres. And when it twists, it will get a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to add them on, see where I'm up to. Need another couple of centimetres on there. So I'm just picking them up off the mat. So you could use a bead spinner if you wanted to. I struggle with bead spinners. It's just practice. We do sell them on the website. We've got some plastic ones, we've got some wooden ones, we've got different sizes of them. If you don't know what a bead spinner is, it's basically like a little bowl, and then you spin the top of like a little stick that comes out the middle, spins your bowl round, and as your bowl is spinning, you just stick your wire or your needle in, and it kind of feeds them on. And when it works, it's super good, but I tend to just drop them off all the time. All right, I think I've got too many here. So I'm gonna just start taking some off gradually. That will do. So I want to keep this wire fairly straight, but I am just putting a little bend in it. And then I'm going to put the seed beads back that I'm not using into my bag, because we don't really want to mix them up. So you could, if you wanted to make a mixed, I mean, it looks mixed anyway when it's twisted, but if you wanted to add all 3 colours onto each one, you could do that. So then just picking up my last colour, holding onto one end so it doesn't fall off, and then scooping them up as I go. This colour's beautiful. It's got like a milky tone to it. If you're ever making kind of, seed bead like flowers, I've not really done any, but there is some on the website which are beautiful. Bead spinners are great for that, because you do have to feed on lots and lots and lots of seed beads. So at the moment I need just a few more. Let's see how we're getting on. I'm going to take a few off. So I'm just holding them against my ruler to measure. So I've got about 7 centimetres of each colour, which is about 42 seed beads, there or thereabouts. And that is about 2 3/4 of an inch. So what I want to do now is you can either twist them, so you're twisting them all together like this. If you want this beautiful kind of graduated look, then you're going to pick out one of your colours, and I'm going to go with this milky version, the last one I've used. And all I'm going to do is put 7 onto each side. So 7 on this one, 7 on that one, 7 on this one, 7 on that one, 7 on this one, 7 on that one. 7 seed beads is about 1 centimetre, which is about ½ an inch. I just find it's easier to just pick them up and count. So although these are going to be the same colour, I'm just adding a little extra on. So I've got 7 extra onto that one. And then same on the other side. And that's that strand then complete. Again, I'm keeping it bent just so they don't fall off. 7 onto this side, onto my different colour. Pour some more out onto the table. Just a little pinch. So instead of picking them off the mat, I'm just kind of picking them up and threading them on. So you can see how those colours start to kind of integrate. Heather says, I'd be finding seed beads for weeks with a bead spinner. Yeah, no, I'm the same. And then what really annoys me is I'll get so far and then they just fall off the end. You get like a special needle with it. But if you're using wire, then you just curl the wire up like into a little hook, and it should scoop them up. But I just can't get the knack. It's the speed that you need to get with it. It's just practice. They're really easy if you've got the knack. And then same on the other side as well. So this step is optional, but I do think it looks lovely when it's blended. If I hold that up, you'll see that works out at about 1 centimetre, those coloured bits, and that would make it about ½ an inch. So this is the trickiest bit, but it's dead straightforward. So I'm just going to bring all of my sections up together. I want to make sure that I've got kind of like an even amount of wire on both sides, so my seed beads will fit in the middle. Obviously, depending on how you've kind of bent and folded them, the seed beads won't necessarily line up at this point. But you just want to grab hold of all of them. What I tend to find is if my wires are the same, if I'm holding my wires at a certain point together, then it will be roughly where I need them to be. I'm going to hold on to one end, and where those seed beads group together, I'm just going to keep hold of them. I'm just going to give it a little twist. So I'm twisting all of those strands, those 3 strands at one end together. Not using any tools, just my fingers. And then I'm going to drop it down so my seed beads are flush up to where that twist is. And then what you want to do is you just want to position them straight. So I've probably got a fairly even amount of wire onto both sides. Doesn't matter if they're a bit wobbly in the middle, just want the seed beads to kind of come up to a similar position. And then where those seed beads are, I'm going to start twisting where they finish on the other side. Little twists. Like so. I'm now just going to flatten them out a little bit just to check I'm happy with my twist. So the seed beads are kind of pinched together in the centre. And they feel really lovely, to be honest. And then as I position these together, so they're kind of flat and running next to each other, I'm just going to start twisting those. So just make sure, you can see it might move up a little bit, just push them down if need be. So I've twisted one end, I've twisted the other end, and now I'm just twisting the seed bead section. Just by pinching the end, and you're starting to form that kind of rope effect. You don't have to do too many twists. You just find it starts to make that lovely kind of rope effect, or twine. Twine's made up of lots of entwined little pieces. There you go, that's as complicated as it gets. It looks like you've made some sort of like Russian spiral in a stitch project, but I really haven't. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring these 2 ends up together, and I'm going to pinch them at the top. I'm not too worried about the shape of this at the moment, but where these are now finishing, those seed beads, I'm going to just twist all of these kind of 6 sections of wire together. Like so. Now I'm going to take my cutters and I'm just going to trim off the top so they kind of finish fairly evenly. And then I'm going to take my miracle bead. So I've got this 6mm bead here. My wire should just push up through the centre of that bead. It's got a nice large drill hole, and I'm going to slide that bead down so it fits right on top of where the end of the seed beads are twisted. And then all I'm going to do is take my round nose pliers or my bail step making pliers. I like to use the bail step making pliers just because my loop's going to be the same size on both earrings. But again, if you're using your round nose, then that works just the same. Just be mindful of where you're turning it. So I'm going to use the small little part of the bail step pliers. So I'm going to bend it over one side horizontally, and that's going to leave a little gap between my bead and the bend in my twisted wire. And then I'm going to bring it over the smallest section and back around. And I'm just going to create a wrapped loop. Now you can use your tools to do the wrap loop. You can use your fingers. It's entirely up to you. We're just going to bring that round. So we're using all of those twisted wires as one. And we're just going to fill that space below the loop and above the bead. If you want to take your pliers, you can just firm it up and get those twists nice and neat. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off any excess that I don't want, or push it all down. And then what I want to do is make sure that I tuck in all of those ends, because you've got lots of little wire ends there. So I'm just giving it kind of like a squeeze and a twist and I'll rub my finger across it just to make sure all those little ends are fully in and supported. Now I'm going to take my ear wire. So I have this lovely colour here, and you'll find that these ear wires have got a little loop on the bottom. They've got a really nice kind of, I love the shape of them. They're like fat and flat all at the same time. I'm going to hook that through all of those wires that are forming that loop. And what I do to close this over, you'll see I'm just gonna, you could use your round nose if you wanted to, but what I tend to find is I'm just going to push against those parts to close it in. So I've got my little loop. You can compress with your pliers that loop if it's a little bit wider than you need it to be. Just a gentle flatten down just to compress them together. Hook that through, and then with a pair of chain nose or whatever you've got, we're just going to gently press that part of the loop closed. And then my earring is done. Of course, I just need to shape it. So what I tend to do is I will make my other earring, and then I will position them together. I'm just going to stick my finger and my thumb in the middle and give it a little shape together. And as they're just on wire, you can mould them and shape them to whichever you want. You can make a lovely kind of rounded, you could make a lovely teardrop, you can just flatten the bottom a little bit, you can do whatever you want with them. And there your earrings done and dusted. Really straightforward. Now I've made these lovely summer, which we're going to rename fruit salad version. I've made a pair of these lovely green ones, but I've only got one of the blue. So shall I make a little blue one with you as well? Just to recap, it's quite quick to make. You'll see all you need to do is just make the same one. So this time I'm using these lovely shades of bluebell, and I've got this lovely blue miracle bead. I'm going to use the 0.4mm wire again, only this time it's silver coated. So just to recap, your 0.4mm wire is a 26 American wire gauge. Sheila says, love these earrings, Natalie, great for the summer. Camille says, lovely. They're really sweet, aren't they? I was very pleased with them. So I'm going to cut 8 inches or 20 centimetres of my wire. Just find the end. Going to give it a little straighten out between my fingers, just to straighten out any kinks. So I want those to be equal in length. I'm going to go for 20 centimetres. So 8 inches, and I'm going to cut 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. So in terms of tools, it's very minimal. You just need your wire cutters, a ruler, round nose pliers or your bail staff pliers, chain nose really, and that's about it. So I'm going to take my first colour and I'm going to pour that onto the mat. I'm going to use about 42 seed beads, which will be 7 centimetres, which works out in conversion as about 2 3/4 inches. So just pour a little pile out. I'm going to keep hold of one end so it doesn't fall off, and I'm just going to start picking up this beautiful, I think this one's the English bluebell. It could be Virginia bluebell. I don't know. Ooh. So working off a mat like this is great. This is just like a fleecy kind of table cover really. If you've got beading mats, they're great to use. It depends what I'm making, depending on what surface I want to work off. So if I'm doing a wire project, I want a hard, flat surface. And if I'm shaping wire around like my cabochons, my gemstones, whatever, I do like to work off a flat surface. If I'm using seed beads, definitely don't want to be working on a smooth surface like a dinner tray or a table, because they will just roll all over the place. Having that little fleecy kind of beading mat will just make sure that they stay put to an extent. So let's see how many I've got. I'm going for 7 centimetres. I do try and make sure that I'm converting measurements and things, because I know you can always use that search engine, and I often do when I'm like, oh, what gauge wire would this be? But we all use something different, and it's just easier to know and be told than have to look it up yourself. I'm going to take 3 off, because as we discovered last live, I'm quite pedantic in how I'm doing things. Just putting a little bend in it, bringing them up together, just so I'm not going to lose them. Heather says, I've got several beading mats, all with something on, some half finished. You can get good little beading boards, which are like stackable trays, and you can just put the lid on. But the problem with that is you can be tempted to just, I'll come back to that. And then when you're having a clean and a sort out a little bit later on, you're like, I forgot all about that one. So this looks similar in colour, but it isn't. I don't want to put them together too much, but I don't know whether you can see there is a slight variation in that. I think a bracelet would be beautiful too, Anastasia. Carol says she's going to have to give these a go. Well, I'm glad you like them. I had lots of people watching. I think some people have dipped off because they've already seen me do it and know what they're doing now. But I'm glad you like them. Something a bit different, isn't it? And I think they give a much more complicated look than it actually is. So I'm not counting them. You'll be pleased to know. I'm just going to measure them against. Ooh. I just love the mix of colours and tones with these. So you've got that lovely kind of graduated, almost like ombre look, I suppose. So just using the wire to scoop them up. Sometimes you can scoop a couple up at once. That's quite satisfying. You just keep dropping them down every now and again so they won't fall off. Let's see where we're up to with this. Just added one extra on, I think, there. Again, make sure it's folded and you just place them out the way so we're not going to get them mixed up. And then I'm going to go for this lightest shade of blue, and this is what I'm going to use to kind of graduate them up as I go as well. So I'll put quite a few of these out. Holding on to one end, using the other side, just like a needle, and I'm going to just scoop. I mean, you could mix any colours you wanted. If you were to get like a red, a green and a gold, you could make some festive jewellery. I always think reds, greens and golds are quite Christmas-like. If you wanted to get a red, white and blue, you could celebrate Independence Day, which I know has been and gone. You could represent Great Britain or France with your tricolour. You could do whatever you wanted, but I think these colours are particularly lovely together. You can create themed jewellery quite easily by just playing about with colour. I think I'm going to need a few more. Let's see where we're up to. So again, if you wanted to, you could leave it as this. You don't have to put that extra colour onto them. You can just twist them with the 3 separate colours. If you want to make a smaller earring, then you just add on less seed beads. Okay. And now I'm going to add 7 onto each side. So I'm going to use this lighter colour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to drop them down now so they don't fall off. And because I'm using the same colour, basically you could just put 14 onto one side. It wouldn't matter. I just do it this way so it's in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keeping hold of both the ends so they don't fall away. Just stick them up in the air. And 7 onto this shade. And if you're using different size seed beads, again, it will probably work, but your numbers will be different from mine. But you could still do it, so you're making about 1 centimetre or half an inch of these little sections. And then my last one. I'm picking those up now. And then a centimetre of the colour onto the other side as well. So I'm just going to move them out the way. Let's get a little bit of clear on my mat. I'm going to take all 3 of my ends, picking them up one by one. And I kind of want them to be even. So I'll pick them up and then I'll just kind of get my ends there or thereabout. I'm going to pinch down together, holding on to the others, and just start to give a little twist, twisting those wires up. We want to keep those seed beads roughly in the middle so we've got enough to make our wrapped loop with. But sometimes I moved a little bit there, so I've got a longer length here than I have there, but it'll still work. I'm going to push, making sure the seed beads are right up to the twist. And then when I flatten them out, I can push down with my finger so all the seed beads are there and start twisting up this side too. Just a little bit to bind them together. And then in the middle, that seems longer than the others, doesn't it? It's not fitting quite as flat. I'm just going to start twisting the seed beaded section. Again, if it starts to slide, just reposition to lock them in place. So I've got a fairly even twist. I'm going to bring them both ends up together and pinch at the top, and then start to twist again. So I'm twisting all essentially 6 wires together, just giving it a little pinch between my finger and my thumb. I'm going to cut off a little bit at the end to make them quite even. Take my miracle bead, this one being the lovely blue colour, and push that right down so it sits on top of my twisted seed beads. And then I'm going to take my veil step pliers again. So my loop should be the same on each one. Give it a little bend horizontally, flip up vertically, and we're going to wrap around that neck, bringing that up. So I'm going to just swap into my less dominant hand. And you can again use your tools with this. If you want to take the end and wrap it, you can do. Sometimes those little wires you'll see start to splay out a bit, but that's okay as long as I've got them entwined enough to kind of wrap around. I'm going to take my cutters and cut off any extra bits. Just keep my finger over them so none of them kind of splinter off. And then you want to make sure that you're tucking all of those twisted wires in fully. Just give it a little check around, make sure they're all tucked in. You can, if you want, flatten out your ear wire hook to be, so your little loop. I'm going to take my ear wire, feed it all through, and then with a little bit of pressure, I'm just going to close gently that loop so it doesn't escape. Usually when I open an ear wire, I do it like a jump ring. This, I just feel like they just need closing. And then I'm going to pick up my other earring that I've made and then place them together and start to shape them with my fingers. Again, you can really change the shape of how you want them to be positioned. If you want them to be more rounded, more kind of pear, you can do whatever you want with them. I kind of like it more rounded at the bottom. And there you have your Sedona earrings, all ready to go back to the warehouse. I've got all my pears now. I'm calling that fruit salad. It just is the sweets. But we have the summer mix in the oranges, the pinks and the yellows. We've got the blues in the kind of blueberry kind of tones, and we've got the mix of the greens. These are your gorgeous Sedona twine earrings today. If you want to head over to the website, you'll be able to find all your kits available there. Let me show you them again if I can. So we are totallybeads.co.uk, and you can head into the video tutorial section. Each of your kits is going to make 5 pairs of earrings up, which is just brilliant. They are slightly varied in price, but you've got your blue, your green and your summer version there if you want to add them into your basket. And of course, if you head into the actual colour that you're looking for, if you wanted to, you can add yourself in any extra bits and bobs that you want. So if you want more miracle beads, if you want more seed beads, don't worry if these are showing, as all of the kits have been allocated at the moment, so there should be enough for everyone. Until this says this is out of stock on the main bit, they're available for you to get. Oh, I think a lot of you are liking them. It's looking like it's out of stock. We'll see what we can do about replenishing that. I'm sure we probably can. I think they've just made up so many in advance, but we might be able to make up a few more. So what I will do is I will speak to the warehouse and say, we need more stock. Is it possible? I hope you've enjoyed them today. It's been a nice quick make. You can see I made a pair of earrings. I know I didn't do the same colours, but I've made a pair of earrings in probably 20 minutes, half an hour. I mean, I was showing you all bits and bobs in between. So thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to be back with you on Monday. Heather's making me laugh. Let's twist again. Not heard that song for ages. Hello, Izzy. Says morning, Natalie and everyone. Had to go up this morning, so missed the beginning. They look lovely. Thank goodness for catch up. Rachel says lovely and summery. Just Me says thank you, Natalie. Beautiful earrings. Thank you so much. If you've got any questions, do drop a comment and I'll do my very best to go back and have a little look in there. Heather said, I missed the end part, was making a cup of tea. I'm going to go make a coffee. And Anastasia, oh bless you, she says, ladies, don't forget to hit the like button. It is much appreciated, but it isn't compulsory. Thank you for being with me today. I don't know what I'm making with you on Monday. I can't remember. I'm in the middle of scheduling August at the moment, so I don't know what I'm doing from one day to the next. I should have checked beforehand. But if you do subscribe to us on YouTube, you can see all my videos anyway are just in live rather than kind of like video. If you click on the live section, I've got playlist categories in there, but you can also see what's coming up. Mina usually tells me and reminds me what I'm doing. So thank you so much for being with me. I hope you all have a really, really lovely rest of the week, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Stay cool, stay making, and stay happy. I'll see